saying that the FIA president, Mohammed bin Sulayman, is reportedly under investigation for interfering with the result of a Formula One race. The specific race they're talking about is the 2023 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Now, according to the BBC, a report by Motorsport Governing Body's compliance officer, Paul Vasari, which was given to the Ethics Committee, claims that bin Sulayman acted to overturn a 10-second penalty given to Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso during that 2023 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The report claims that a whistleblower has alleged that Sulayman called the vice president, the FIA vice president of sport for the Middle East, Sheikh Abdullah bin Isa Al Khalifa, who was in Saudi Arabia at the time in an official capacity, and apparently said that, well, apparently he's basically inferred that he didn't think that the 10-second penalty should count and should be revoked. And in the end, it wasn't actually implemented itself. It was removed, and at the time, it was not really sort of talking about it. And as a result of it, Fernando Alonso did get pole in that Saudi Arabian penalty. This was in respect to the that sort of, well, whilst he was serving a penalty, the fact that he had alleged work done on the car. It was appealed by Andy Stevenson, who put the team's case forward to the stewards and posed the right of view, and it wasn't ever actually implemented, that 10-second additional penalty, which would have removed Fernando Alonso from the pole from the race itself. Now, this is obviously very early in the story, but if this is proved to be true, it becomes quite a interesting situation, because this is the last thing you want and can have in sort of the kind of sport and within the ethics committee and stuff like that. You cannot have your president deliberately interfering and making decisions unilaterally, really, that could potentially affect the outcome of Grand Prix and the results of the sport. And so it's quite an interesting one. In terms of action, I don't think they're going to go back, for example, take the points off and really sort of go back that way, but it could mean potentially the end of him as the head of the president of the FIA, because if it is found that he deliberately and used his position of power to interfere in the race, which is not allowed to do, then that would probably spell the end of his reign at the head of the FIA. So whilst this is very much a developing story, for example, the consequences could be very big. It could be the end of his. As I said, I don't see how you can continue if this is found to be true. And this is why it's put towards the ethics committee, for example, and we'll have to wait for the findings over there. In the meantime, both the FIA as well as bin Sulayman have refused to comment on the incident and have not given any statements and are not want to talk about the incident. Often when this is the case, it means that there could be a potential case of where there's smoke, there's fire type thing. So there could yet be a little bit of truth to the story. But we'll have to wait and find out. What do you think would be the repercussions if this is found to be true? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall. Praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap, I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks, listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast, don't remember life before you, that's fast. can't wait. Our first time, our first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall.
Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports, and the feud between Verstappen and Horner does continue just a few days after the first race weekend. And very interesting to see how this is all going to play out. Christian Horner being cleared by Red Bull last week before a alleged drive link containing pictures and screenshots of WhatsApp conversation between Christian Horner and the complainant emerged on Thursday, with a lot of internal issues now currently happening at Red Bull, and we saw a massive fallout between him and Jos Verstappen over the weekend. So we're going to go through that a little bit as well, give you an update on what exactly the situation is currently right now. But before we do that, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Right, so as we said last week Wednesday, on the eve of the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend, Christian Horner was cleared of any sort of wrongdoing or any sort of inappropriate behavior against a complainant. And on Wednesday. On Thursday, however, after the second practice session, a link was sent out of the alleged sort of evidence about the incident, and that has obviously apparently turned out quite a lot of sort of internal issues. A lot of people apparently not particularly happy with what's going on. A lot of attention on Red Bull about whether they made the right decision, for example, and apparently alleged tension within the team. And Jos Verstappen, who's always had a bit of a tricky relationship with Christian Horner, Jos Verstappen being the father of Max Verstappen, who obviously cruised to first victory of the season, had took into the media and said that Red Bull could potentially be torn apart if they do not move away from Christian Horner. He said the following over the weekend. He said, there is tension here while he remains in position. Speaking about Christian Horner, the team is in danger of being torn apart. He says it can't go on this way, it will explode. He is playing the victim when he is the one causing the problems. In a different interview, he said the situation is not good for the team and is driving people apart. What is already a pretty fractious relationship is not looking any better between Jos Verstappen and Max Verstappen. Obviously, Jos being Max's photo father and mentor. And apparently, after that, there's obviously talks about what's going to happen with Max Verstappen moving forward, for example. A lot of issues with potentially within the actual Red Bull team as well. Now, allegedly, Christian Horner had a meeting with Max Verstappen's agent on Monday ahead of the second week of the Formula One calendar, and apparently sort of things are a little bit better in sort of terms of the situation that's a bit calmer. However, there will be no Jos Verstappen this weekend. He's got rally and driving commitments himself, so he will not be present in the paddock. So hopefully, be a bit of a straightforward weekend for Red Bull. But there is growing tension. There's no doubt about that, and lots of questions being raised about Red Bull as the future of Christian Horner does continue to sort of be uncertain with regards to what's going to happen with the evidence and the discussions that's currently happening with regards to the behavior of Christian Horner in the alleged incident. So big questions to come and big moments to come in the future with a lot of drivers potentially making moves, stuff like that. Maybe Max Verstappen, who looked like he was going to be at Red Bull all his career really, and now all of a sudden could potentially be looking at a way out if things don't improve over there. So what do you think is going to happen? Let me know down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon. And welcome to Forever Motorsports, and today we're going to be talking about Max Verstappen to Mercedes after a couple of conversations apparently over the weekend and a lot of speculation surrounding the future of Max Verstappen, Red Bull, and Christian Horner, as well as Helmut Marko and the entire sort of Red Bull ecosystem, which is apparently currently very, very disrupted and apparently not particularly cohesive at the moment, following the sort of saga surrounding Christian Horner and the complaint of inappropriate behavior within Red Bull. Before we get into some of the details as to whether or not we might actually see Max Verstappen switch from the Red Bull to Mercedes, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Right, so Max Verstappen and Checo Perez cruising to a 1-2 finish in Bahrain in the first Grand Prix weekend would suggest that Red Bull continues to be in a class of its own. And whilst maybe a little bit of improvement from Ferrari, looks like no team right now are fully prepped to be able to compete with that Red Bull. And that's going to be an interesting sort of a part of it, because at the end of the day, drivers are always going to follow the fastest car where they can, So Max Verstappen is very unlikely to leave Red Bull to another team unless he truly believes that that other team's car has what it takes to win championships. He wants to be the most successful Formula One driver of all time. And at his age, with 2 world championships under his belt, he's looking very good to do just that. So it's going to be an interesting few months ahead in terms of what's going to happen at Red Bull, with apparently Jos Verstappen has come out and said that Christian Horner and the whole saga is really disrupting the team. He needs to go potentially, and there have since been photos of a conversation coming between Toto Wolff and Jos Verstappen, and it was alleged this is really the first time they've been seeing in public speaking to each other since the sort of championship issue back in Abu Dhabi all those years ago. So apparently it might have reconciled. And apparently there's also rumors that there was a conversation that took place between Max Verstappen and Toto Wolff, team principal at Mercedes, in the hotel where they shared a while back. So apparently, according to F1 Insider, there is in fact a clause which would allow Max Verstappen to walk out of his contract. He's currently contracted there until 2028. So still got 4 years left on that contract after this year. So apparently he has a clause which says that if Helmut Marko goes, he can use that as an exit clause. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. So basically, I think a lot of this sort of depends on what happens with Christian Horner. And I think at the moment, a couple of years ago, Christian Horner, I think, was, almost irreplaceable at Red Bull. I think these days, at the moment, Max Verstappen is probably more important than Christian Horner. So it's a very interesting situation at the moment where I do believe that Red Bull can continue to thrive. If Christian Horner were to make way, because at the moment it seems that if they were to back him over the driver might leave, and Red Bull are not going to let their best prospect of just continue to win them world championships leave just like that. So apparently, also what's very interesting is that Helmut Marko has come out and said that he will not stand in his way if Verstappen does decide to leave. Now, F1 Insider in the same report said that a close friend of Marko said that if Horner stays, Helmut Marko and Adrian Newey will quit and Max will go to Mercedes. That can't be verified, so that is pure speculation. But it's an interesting concept, if it does come to a sort of a bit of an ultimatum situation where it becomes choosing Horner or choosing the likes of Helmut Marko, Adrian Newey, Max Verstappen, I'm pretty sure Red Bull will go with the latter. But Christian Horner has been responsible for building them into the team that they are today. So he's not something they would want to lose either. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they sort of navigate this very interesting and tricky period over the coming months. What do you think? Max Verstappen to Mercedes, could it work? Well, it would be quite a cool move to see if we saw Max Verstappen moving to Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari, for example. Who would go to Red Bull? You could maybe see a Carlos Sainz, who's almost been told he's the sort of requirements at Ferrari. Could he end up in a Red Bull and all of a sudden be competing for titles? So hopefully we could see a bit of movement, and hopefully we'll see a really, really interesting grid come 2025. But until then, we're going to focus a bit on what's happening in Saudi Arabia this weekend as we go to the second race. Which teams will be able to catch up? Will Red Bull remain dominant? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please do smash the like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon. Right, hello everybody and welcome to Forever Motorsports. It is Friday, it is pre-practice 3, and we are literally just minutes away from the final session of preparation before qualifying tonight and the race tomorrow. Welcome to the stream and to the channel if you are new. My name is Steve, or Stevie P, as most people know me, and I will be with you guys for the next sort of hour. As we wrap up the preparation for the Grand Prix. We will have qualifying later, and then the race will take place tomorrow. Now, some massive, huge, biggest possible news. Carlos Sainz out of the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Oliver Bearman will make his F1 debut in the Ferrari. Literally a day after he was on pole for F2. Watched him yesterday, all the celebrations, and looked amazing how happy he was. Well, I don't think he could have imagined that little less than 24 hours after being on pole, qualifying first in the F2 yesterday, he would actually be in a Ferrari today, preparing for his first ever Grand Prix. The 18-year-old British driver is set to get his first experience of the F1 action this weekend. He has driven a F1 car. He was some laps in the Haas last year in some of the practice stations, but has never done an actual race. So that's huge news coming out of Ferrari, and interesting to see what somebody for the potential future might look like. Yeah, the practice starts in officially 2 minutes time, and very, very keen to see how he gets going. Daniel Ricciardo there, heading back towards his garage to get into his car and get himself sorted. But in the meantime, I'd like you to smash a like on the video. Almost 200 people watching at the moment. And go and vote in the poll, which we're asking you, what other motorsport would you like to see on the channel? Are you just here for F1? You in for a bit of Moto GP, some WEC, for example, NASCAR, IndyCar? What are we thinking? We want to try to sort of gauge exactly what sort of other motorsports you guys would enjoy seeing on the channel. So we'll only know once you guys tell us. So yeah, also we're trying a bit of a new layout today. We've been trying to mash together the various layouts we've been showing and stuff like that. I'm hoping we've got something close to the final product. So I'll be interested to see what your feedback is once we move into the actual session. We get those times coming in. But yeah, very interesting practice as we go. A bit like last week, we don't expect drivers to go out too quickly, although I wouldn't be surprised if Oliver Bearman does get out pretty early, especially if he can try and get the track to himself and get to grips with that Ferrari that he's going to be driving, which is a little bit different to the F2 car he would have been in yesterday in that premise. So very, very keen to sort of see how things go there for him. But yeah, thoughts go out to Carlos Sainz, who is undergoing surgery for appendicitis. So we'll listen this weekend after he grabbed a very impressive third last weekend. But go to the comments earlier. TC was saying that FIA is like a banana republic. Yeah, so we had some of the videos I was doing earlier in the week. For example, the president currently under investigation. Right, it is official. Free practice is underway. Let's move to the studio and get some data going over there. And very, very keen to see exactly how everything goes. So we've got Valtteri Bottas has come out onto the track first up. So he's going to start putting in a few laps. And you have an opportunity to see exactly what it's pretty out early yesterday as well. So interesting to see him going out first once again and getting a couple of laps in. But yeah, some other comments over here. Is that saying, go Bearman, you deserve a spot in F1 just for sounding like a heavy superhero. Barrett what's hello fans of Steve, awesome for Bearman. And SP says Sky Sports hitting over another British driver on the grid. Well, you know, why not? I mean, there are local broadcasters. You're always going to be quite excited to see it. Barrett with IndyCar being added bonus. TCC saying, come on Lewis, please make top 5. Well, let's see. Lewis Hamilton I thought was a little bit poor last week, and he is out. By the way, the youngster, the 18-year-old Oliver Bearman is out on the track in that Ferrari. They've had to literally stick on some new numbers on the side of that car. It is because usually quite a science car, but it has now been re-decaled in the number of, I think it was 34 was the number on his track. But very, very keen to see how he goes. And yeah, you know, somebody for the future. And I think a lot of teams actually will be very interested because, you know, Hamilton moving to Ferrari next year, so they're not like that giving a seat. So you're not going to have to worry about seeing him in a Formula One car at Ferrari next season. But if he goes and puts in an impressive performance this weekend, then maybe some of the smaller teams might be sitting there going, well, we can give you a seat. You can look at a loan deal, for example. Sort of gauge exactly how good he is. As we wait for the first sort of lap times to start coming through, there you can see obviously Valtteri Bottas setting the fastest couple of sectors, the first one to go out and start recording some laps. Just want to sort out one last thing. How's that? Hey, Alonso finished second in the Spanish Grand Prix the day Oliver Bearman was born. So, first of all, shows you how young the youngster is, but also how long Fernando Alonso has been doing this. And yeah, you know what a driver he is. And just sorting out the final part of the studio, and looks like we are ready to go over there. Cool beans. Right, so Valtteri Bottas has officially set the fast time of the session with a 1:31.307 on a set of mediums. We'll have to wait to see what Oliver Bearman can start to do in that Ferrari. But what do we expect? What would be a good practice for Bearman? To be sort of hit the top 10, for example? Or is that a bit too ambitious? What are we thinking? Let's see how he gets on in that first lap. So top of green sectors. Now, right, Lewis Hamilton is going to go join the youngster on the track. He's on a pair of softs. Stroll's gone out on a pair of hards. All right, so still a bit off there is Bearman, so it's just about 1.8 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas, so he'll want to start bringing that down pretty quickly, but it'll take a while for him to get used to that car. Obviously a lot bigger, a lot more powerful than what he's used to driving, but I'd be very surprised. This is the first time he's been in this car. I'm sure during the practices and testing and stuff like that, he would have had to go. And Charles Leclerc still inside the garage, but you can see there, just as before we swapped over to him, Lewis Hamilton coming in behind him and having a look at Oliver Bearman around the corners here. I mean, what a moment for him. Imagine waking up this morning. You think you're going to be on pole for the F2 sprint race, which starts in like an hour's time. And instead, he is... So obviously my sim race is still going on there. Right, that should be a bit easier to hear. But yeah, and instead of going to F2, the sprint race, he is in fact driving a Formula 1 car for the weekend, as Carlos Sainz, as we mentioned earlier, is having surgery for appendicitis. By the way, please keep voting on the poll. Keen to see what other motorsports you'd like to see on the channel. We'll look to bring that over in the next few months. Right, so Valtteri Bottas still with the fastest time out so far, and Lewis Hamilton looking to go. I thought it was quite disappointing with Lewis Hamilton over the weekend. Hasn't been able to set ridiculously fast laps. Hasn't really been at the sort of the top end so far. So it'll take. Hopefully, we'll see a bit more from him today. Fastest first sector there for Lewis Hamilton. So he's now starting to put his foot down, put some pedal in the middle. And let's see what sort of standard he can bring down. At the moment, the fastest lap, 1:31.307 from Valtteri Bottas. On a set of mediums, Lewis Hamilton going fastest in that first and second sector. So we do expect him to set a fastest leading time for the session. Bottas has just got slightly faster, but we do expect Hamilton now to bring that time down pretty substantially, with the first two sectors being purple sectors. So let's see what he can bring it. And he's going to come through at a 1:30.793. So the first person to go into that 1:31 mark we saw yesterday, and threatening that one, that sort of, I think just Alonso going below that 1:29 gap. So you can see there that I think that's probably where we expect to see in qualifying, that below that 1:29, potentially 1:28 flat could be on the cards later. Right, so far 1:33 the best for Oliver Bearman. So he's there we go. That's a bit better from him. Coming in with a 1:31.2. So just slightly faster than Valtteri Bottas, but he did set a fastest third sector, so that'll give him a bit of confidence. Old Man Roo saying hello everyone, hoping Danny Rick could get the thing firing today. Well, not quite out just yet. Oh, there we go. Mick Schumacher, who's the reserve driver for Mercedes, although currently competing in the WC for Alpine. He is over there saying, watching on. Oscar Piastri not in his car just yet. And Lewis Hamilton at the moment is with that leading lap of 1:30.793. Danny Ricciardo, speaking of Danny Ricciardo in the comments there, he is just gone. He's in his car waiting to go out. And Meredith Agarwal saying Bearman is going to be the next F1 pretty boy after Leclerc. And Barrett said, I'm curious, I'm going to ask Steve, do you watch F1 religiously, like never miss an event, or mostly like keep abreast of what's going and watch when possible? Yeah, very much the sort of watch where possible. Is simply just too much sport to watch. If I'm not playing cricket, for example, which I do on Sundays, which is often when F1 is on, so I often have to watch the highlights. But if it's on, if I'm not watching anything, for example, like tomorrow, I can't do the race because I'm actually covering rugby. Which is at the same time. So Sundays, I'm about to go into the cricket off season, which makes life a bit easier to watch. So I watch as much as I can, but there's a lot of sport on, and between covering all the various different sports, I do sometimes have to miss a Grand Prix here and there. Hopefully fewer this year, given the fact that there are so many. But we'll have Reese on comms for qualifying as well as the race tomorrow. If you want to know somebody that does watch Formula 1 religiously, that is your man. So you can ask him all the big questions in that stream later. Right, so both Aston Martins are out on the track on a set of mediums, by the way. Both Mercedes are running softs, and Guanyu has gone out as well. He's also on a pair of mediums. Right, so Bottas there now with the fastest first sector. And the fastest third sector as well. So he goes with the fastest lap of the day, just slightly ahead of Hamilton. Lando Norris, by the way, has just gone out as well. So the track's starting to get a bit busier after the first 10 minutes of the third practice session. After this, by the way, we'll be moving directly into the new stream for Formula 2, which is their sprint race before qualifying gets underway at 8 o'clock local time tonight, which is in just over 3 hours' time. Faster second sector there for Oliver Bearman. So he's starting to get to grips with that Ferrari and what it can do. I imagine he goes and scores. Oh, no, never mind. I had a little commentator's curse there. Gets slightly wrong there. Imagine he goes and scores points this weekend. at 18 years old. What a moment that would be. Well, he's just set the fastest lap, by the way. And I think he can go a bit faster. I think it was a slight mistake in I think it was the second last corner there. So 1:30.277, and that's fast, by the way. So threatening that 1:30 margin. Yuki Tsunoda going out as well. Now, Charles Leclerc will definitely want to make sure that he's substantially faster than his teammate, but I'm very keen to see how he goes in qualifying. But we are going to start hopefully getting some times from the Astons. George Russell on a pair of softs has got to set the fastest first sector. He is the youngest ever driver for Ferrari, by the way. It's Oliver Behrman. 18 years, 10 months, and 0 days. Turns 19 on the 8th of May. Big maths. Right, George Russell with that fastest first sector. Doesn't quite get a fastest lap, but does go ahead of his teammate into second fastest time for the session so far. And that is Lance Stroll. It's only got a cap on, so he doesn't look like he's coming back out anytime soon. Interesting, because the timing board has him out there, but that car is very much parked inside the garage. I'm not entirely sure what why it's got him out there. Right, Behrman into the pits, and they'll do a couple of adjustments here and send him straight out. They just change his tires. Another set of mediums. Still currently has the fastest lap of the session. Trying to work out if we got anybody else that's getting out there. Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo are both out there. Ricciardo currently on out lap, but no time just yet from Yuki. So the Team RBs, the two Mercedes, and Guanyu of the Sauber, the only cars on track right now. No movement so far from the Red Bulls, nor from the Williams, nor from the Haas, nor from the McLarens. Although Norris did seem to be out, so I'm a bit confused what happened there. Right, and Daniel Ricciardo sets off on his first hot lap. And Tsunoda goes a bit faster than Guanyu into the fifth fastest lap time of the session so far. And there we go. Hamilton goes faster. So he goes to slightly faster than Behrman. He is on a pair of softs, though. So different tire compounds there. Expect to see the softs coming out tonight in qualifying. Right, so Ricciardo almost a full second off the pace at the moment in his first hot lap of the session. Leclerc, by the way, has gone out, and he's on an out lap, so interesting to see, given the fact that Behrman had the fastest time and is literally less than a tenth of a second behind Hamilton with the fastest lap time. Leclerc, on the same set of tires, by the way, has gone out, and be very keen to see what sort of times he can get, whether he can go a bit faster. Maybe look to the first person to go below that 1.30. Danny Rick there, still quite off the pace there. Liam Lawson, the reserve driver for RB. Right, and our current champion, Max Verstappen, has just sat down in his car, so he's looking to get out relatively soon and start putting down some laps of his own. Saying, I hate these things on my headrest. They are too thick. Can we maybe put thinner ones on? See? So we're still trying to get the car settled to his specifications. That's interesting, actually, the fact that a car has been set up by somebody else, and obviously you now step into somebody has to also set up in the car, and you have to try and find ways to make that as comfortable as possible. Charles Leclerc, so set a green sector there. Let's see what we can get from the Ferrari Premier driver. DC Samson fixes loose rear end from yesterday. I wonder. Well, we'll find out. I haven't seen anything on the radio about it. And Leclerc still slightly better than Hamilton, looking potentially at the fastest lap here. Russell, by the way, has gone the first fastest 2 sectors and goes fastest there. He goes the first person to get under 1.30. But let's see what Charles Leclerc has. I think he'll go faster than Hamilton, but I don't know if he'll go as fast as George Russell. So I'd imagine he'll be sitting in between the 2 Mercedes after this lap. And there it is. Almost going underneath that 1:30 mark, but just off it. He sits just over 1/10 of a second slower than George Russell. But he's on a set of mediums. And I spy a Red Bull on the track. It looks like Sergio Perez has come out. And now we can start seeing what the Red Bulls can do. He's on a pair of softs, as is Alex Albon, as well both the Alpines, as is Logan Sargent. Lando Norris was on hards, but I don't think is currently out at the moment. Very interesting view, actually. It's the camera on the front wing. Makes you appreciate the speed of the car. And the narrow margins, just how narrow everything is. He's just off the pace of Sergio Perez. Almost 1,000th of a second off. So we might see a fastest lap here yet from the Red Bull. Max Verstappen and Kevin Magnussen, the only cars who have not come out at all so far. Oscar Piastri's just come out in a pair of set of hards. All right, fastest to second sector there for Sergio Perez. So we couldn't see a fastest lap here from the Red Bull. Going through turn 27. And now it's flat out. And this could be fast. It's going to be very fast. 129.562 from Sergio Perez. A faster second and third sector. So the Red Bull on the softs so far putting the benchmark down. In that speed trap, though, Oliver Behrman's still the fastest with 332 kilometers per hour. He's back in the pits and getting some work on his car, but I think he's actually just come back out, which is good to see. I think I want to see him clock as many laps as possible in that car before he has to qualify in it in a few hours' time. But a really cool moment for the youngest ever Ferrari driver. And Charles Leclerc has gone faster than his teammate. Almost breaking that 130 barrier as well. But at the moment, Danny Ricciardo, of the laps that have been recorded so far, is the slowest. So not a good start for the session for Danny Rick. Ocon records his first official lap, but he's slightly faster than Danny Rick. A lot of cars on the track. We had lots of issues yesterday with track management. We had an incident between Logan Sargent and Lewis Hamilton. Logan Sargent almost going into the back of Hamilton. And Carlos Sainz weighing in saying that Hamilton was in the middle of the road and almost caused an incident. So not fun there. Going to some of the radios. Trying to see if anybody's having any issues with the cars. Mostly just confirming the various positions of people on the laps. Yeah, that doesn't look like anybody's having too many issues with the cars so far. As on Albert saying, cars feels not bad, pretty good. So he's happy with what he's feeling. And Doug Stewart says, watching from a Tortilla British Virgin Islands. Well, welcome, Doug. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you. And to everybody else, welcome. If you are just joining us, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you are new. Covering all the Formula One action throughout the entire season, as well as some Moto GP, WEC, maybe some IndyCar. Lots of different action being covered here on Forever Motorsports. So if you are new, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got to 2,600 subscribers there yesterday as Max Verstappen sets a fastest first sector, but does come just short from his teammate's time of 129.562, which remains the leading time of the session so far, which is about 24 minutes in. So still plenty of time on the clock there. Well over half an hour, so we expect to see some those lap times come down a bit. I'm sure we'll see a couple of those cars getting out there on some softs to get some more information as well. Verstappen saying it's not a bad first lap. We can also have Strat 7 in the background now. Strat 7, you were purple in sector 1. Guanyu Zhou talking about understeer at turn 8. Not quite sure what's going on. Max Verstappen saying he doesn't know what's going on. So we have to wait and see exactly what he means by that. Charles Leclerc just said the fastest first sector. And the fastest lap with a 129.206. Could the Ferraris yet be a surprise contender for the qualifying, because they've been setting some proper laps on those mediums. So yeah, that's an interesting lap time. If you can, it'd be interesting if they go onto a pair of softs, or set of softs later in the session to see if they can bring that down even more. Fastest first and second sector there from Charles Leclerc. Payment is up, by the way, and setting some more times. For the moment, it's Ferrari of Leclerc, followed by the 2 Red Bulls. A couple of the Haas once again are back in the mix in a session before qualifying. We saw this trend last week, where they didn't really make a count in the final qualifying, but at least they went right at the bottom. So the McLarens at the moment so far not clocking a lap, neither have the Astons. So we'll have to wait and see exactly when Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso will come out a bit later. Lando Norris is currently out on track though, so we will see a time from him very shortly for 2 green sectors. And he's going to come through at a 129.957. So his first lap is below that 1.30 threshold. So the laps times are looking good so far. Track temperature currently 40, just under 40 degrees. Air temperature 26 over in Saudi Arabia with 33 minutes left of the session. We've got a poll running, by the way, which I'm going to close at the 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, depending where you are. Asking you, what are the other sports you watch, the other motorsports you watch? Are you only in on F1? Are you in Moto GP fan, WEC fan, NASCAR, IndyCar? What's your poison? And we want to know that because we want to know what else to cover. Because we're looking at bringing in a lot more different Formula One or motorsports coverage. Last week we did WEC timing stream, which seemed to be quite popular, so that was interesting as well. Looking to do Moto GP this weekend. Hopefully we get some good results from the Binder boys. If you're South African like me, you want to try and see them succeed. And if you're just tuning in and haven't missed the news, the big news is that there is currently an 18-year-old in the Ferrari cockpit with Oliver Bearman, who is stepping in for Carlos Sainz, who will undergo surgery for appendicitis this weekend. As a result, the Premier Formula 2 driver, Oliver Bearman, who was supposed to be on pole for F2, he will drive that seat in the seat of Carlos Sainz in his first Grand Prix, the youngest ever Ferrari driver in a Formula 1. Fernando Alonso podiumed the day he was born. So if Fernando Alonso didn't feel old enough right now, then he definitely will with that kind of stat. A couple of lap times starting to come in, and Oliver Bearman's early lap, which was at one stage the fastest lap of the session, started to plummet a little bit. And look at what was Carlos Sainz's garage. It's still decked out, look like Carlos Sainz. Logan Sargent currently outside. He's not looking any like he's going to get into a car anytime soon. No lap times coming from his Williams. His teammate Alex Albon currently within the top 10 fastest times of the session. And I see, as far might lie, an Aston Martin. And looks like, I think that's Lance Stroll. I think they're both currently out there. No, that is Alonso's currently on a hot lap. Let's see what he can produce. He was the fastest in the second session yesterday. The first person and the only person so far this weekend to go below that 129 threshold. Max Verstappen, by the way, in the meantime, has set a fastest first sector. 1.3 seconds behind the current leading is Alonso, so not quite there yet. Let's see what Max Verstappen can produce in this lap. Looks like he's on a decent one. And that's his fastest second sector as well. So on track for a fastest lap here from Max Verstappen. And I reckon probably the second person of the weekend to break the 129 barrier at the way he's going. And would I lie? Would I lie to you? No, I'd never lie to you. 128.893. That's a pretty good lap coming from Max Verstappen. Fernando Alonso, by the way, is going to come through in a first lap, which is going to be quite far behind. We're 3.5 seconds behind the time, but it is the first lap of the session, so we'll expect him to bring it down. He's also carrying on a pair of mediums, which is what Charles Leclerc said that. Again, so on this day in 2003, Fernando Alonso scored his first points finish at the Australian Grand Prix, back when the Grand Prix season used to start in March, and used to also be in Australia. Well, I didn't think officially, did we start in March last week? It must have been like the 1st of March if it was. I think it was, in fact, 2nd of March. So I suppose we still do start in March. But it just does feel like we start earlier and earlier and we finish later and later in the Formula 1 calendar. It's quite an exciting moment for other reserve drivers to see Oliver Bearman gets his opportunity. So if we look at Oliver Bearman's career, by the way, he finished 6th in the Drivers' Championship for the F2 last season. He finished with 130 points. He had 4 wins, 5 podiums, 2 pole positions, and 2 fastest laps. He helped Prima secure the second in the team's championship, finishing behind ART Grand Prix. So a little bit of options. He was named as a finalist in the Ferrari Driver Academy in 2021. That's when he joined the academy. He made his F1 debut in a Formula 1 car during a private test with Ferrari. And he drove the first of 2 free practice sessions in the 2023 Mexico City Grand Prix with Haas. He was 15th fastest and 3/10 of a second off Nico Hülkenberg. Haas saying they were very impressed with that session. And he was officially made reserve driver on the 27th of January. He'll be sharing the role with Robert Schwartzman and Antonio Giovinazzi. And he is also later confirmed as the Haas reserve driver as well. So he's got options. He's got options. But this weekend, he'll be making his debut in Formula 1 in the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. A little bit of information about the Ferrari drive. Right, Logan Sargent has just gone out and saying box front left's gone. Saying, did you touch it? He says, yes, you can't turn right. So a mistake there from Logan Sargent. He's going to have to go in box. So he's back in the pits as Logan Sargent, who's not see it. He's the only driver out there who hasn't set a time as of yet. Lance Stroll, by the way, is up in 12th. Fernando Alonso hasn't really brought the pace just yet. So Verstappen still with the fastest lap. Charles Leclerc behind him. Kevin Magnussen, by the way, has gone 3rd fastest in the station so far. Sergio Perez after, and then Lando Norris, George Russell, Nico Hülkenberg, Oscar Piastri, Alex Albon, and Esteban Ocon rounding up that top 10. Hamilton still struggling to keep up with his teammate at the moment. Oliver Behrman down in 13. Pierre Gasly, Daniel Rick, Zhou Guanyu, Yuki Tsunoda, and Valtteri Bottas. So the team RB and the Saubers in between each other. There, Lando Norris now goes 5th fastest, the fastest first sector, by the way. Right, let's see what Sergio Perez can do here. He had a green first sector, then a yellow second. And Lando Norris, the green second sector, and the fastest first sector. So he's on a good lap at the moment as Lando Norris. And that's not a bad lap time from Sergio Perez, 129.616, just 1/100th of a second rather, off his previous best. Here comes Lando Norris. Where is he going to end up? He's going to go into the pits. That's what he's going to do. He's going to go into the pits. We will not get a lap time there from Lando Norris, but it was looking good. Right, and 200th of a second faster than his teammate at the moment. All right, here is Lance Stroll, currently sitting with the 13th fastest lap. Got 2 green sectors there, so he started to find a bit of pace as Lance Stroll. Won't set the fastest lap here. But he's starting to settle into the session here, is the Aston Martin. And he goes to the top 10 there, does Lance Stroll, with a 130.073, so not quite below that 130 margin. Both the Aston Martins currently on mediums. Fernando Alonso has also found his way up the leaderboard a little bit. Right, we're going to close off the poll there. I was asking you guys what other motorsports you watch. And whilst the majority of you guys seem to be just Formula 1 fans, there do seem to be some Moto GP and WEC, as well as Nascar and IndyCar fans. Right. I want to ask you what would be or how will Oliver Behrman do this weekend? The options are going to be podium, score points. So top 10, a top 15, or bottom 5. Those are the options. Top 3, top 10, top 15, or in the bottom 5. Let me know what you think is going to happen with the young Ferrari driver this weekend. Eventually podiums, that'll be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It's warm, by the way. Sorry, I apologize for yawning. It's just absolutely sweltering hot here in the office. It is a cool 31 degrees down here. And when you're in an office at 31 degrees, it feels a lot more than 31 degrees. And I have a fan, but it's pretty useless. Right, there we go. Fernando Alonso finding the pace there. He goes to the third fastest of the session. And looking at the track times between Verstappen and Perez, Perez ironically got turn 27 and turn 13. So either side of the track has that dominance. But after that, it's all one-way traffic in the form of Hamilton. Hamilton, Verstappen. I'm hot and sweating and I'm losing my mind, apparently. It's phenomenal. Right, so the Aston Martin, the Red Bull of Verstappen is into the pits. He's going to jump out of his car here on the radio saying, I hit something in turn 10. I don't know if it was a plastic bottle or something, but I hit something with my front right tire. So not the first time we've heard about a bit of debris on the track. We saw Charles Leclerc yesterday having to encounter a plastic packet. Pure Blood, Behrman has replaced Carlos Sainz for the weekend, and that is because Carlos Sainz is undergoing surgery for appendicitis. Yes, so he's in the Ferrari. You can see in there the number 14 or 14th on the grid so far, the BEA. Most teams back in the pits, so have a bit of time to reassess and stuff like that. They've got 21 minutes left of the session, so probably spend about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes working on the car, and then they'll come out to some final laps before we then get going and qualifying later. So in terms of our schedule, by the way, we'll move from this to the qualifying stream where you can catch the live timing for the Formula 2 sprint race. There's then a little bit of build-up before we then get going with the official qualifying, which starts at 8 o'clock local time. And I said in terms of times, but I reckon we might see that 128 flat being pushed. But yeah, with regards to what's to come for today, so that F2 sprint race starts local time at 10 past 6, which is basically an hour, almost to the minute. Literally now is an hour to the minute. So that starts in an hour and will run for 45 minutes. So it'll run to about 7 o'clock local time. And then at 8 o'clock local time, well, we'll see the Formula 1 cars out on that track for the second qualifying session of the season. If you're over there, you then got the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East happening at 10 o'clock, but will not have coverage of that. Unfortunately, there's just no live timing of it. Otherwise, we could. We could. If there was live timing, we could and we would. In terms of tomorrow, there's an FI Academy race happening at 3 o'clock local time. The Porsche Carrera Cup starts at 10 to 2. The Formula 2 feature race starts at 25 past 4. Their live timing will be on the channel. Then the Formula 1 Drivers Parade starts at 6 o'clock local time. The Formula 1 Grand Prix, which is 50 laps or 120 minutes, will start at 8 o'clock local time until about 10 o'clock. They are GMT plus 3 hours if you're looking to try and convert the time difference. So that's the schedule of the weekend. Right, so a bit of an update there from Race Control. It's saying FIA students turns 5 to 7 incident involving cars. Gasly and Stroll reviewed no further investigation. So that's the only instance so far. They did report that Magnussen and Verstappen were off track, but no issue there. The only incident there was Gasly and Stroll, but no further investigation needed there. So all been cleared so far. So a bit of a straightforward practice session. We haven't had anybody really try and end each other. Not too much drama. We saw a little bit of drama last night, or was it the first session? I think it was the second session, FP3, when Lewis Hamilton was caught stalling a little bit, and Logan Sargent almost went up his rear end, which I don't think Lewis Hamilton would have appreciated, but would have been his fault, so I suppose can't really complain, can he? Yo, and it's absolutely sweltering hot. I'll tell you what, I reckon it might be, I literally think it might be, well, what's the air temperature there? 25.8 degrees. I think it literally has, I might as well just go to Saudi Arabia. Like, it's that hot in South Africa at the moment. Might as well just go to the desert. Just go there. You know, does anybody have tickets for me to use? You know, anybody wanna sort me out? Wanna be a lad? Nah? Fair enough. Fair enough. There's a lot of stuff happening over the weekend, by the way. There's Moto GP, there's IndyCar tonight, I think it is. Yeah, the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, USA, practice 1 gets underway at 7:45 if you're a Formula 1 fan. Romain Grosjean is still over there driving. Oh my goodness, we've got a Sauber in the wall. Zhou Guanyu is in the wall. In turn 5, he has paraded and said he's okay, but that car looks less than okay. Oh dear, that's a big accident there. There's a red flag, in fact, so a complete red flag. I see by the red track, so all the cars will come in. Zhou Guanyu says he's okay, and he's managed to get out the car just fine. But just as I said, there wasn't a lot of action so far. It's been a straightforward one. Then Zhou Guanyu puts himself into the wall. In that Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber. Cheapest me, he's done a proper job there. The back wing's wrecked, the front wing's wrecked. He's picked up part of his wing there. That's not a small repair, by the way. This could be a different car. He's just, I mean, you can see he was just going straight and then it just didn't stop, basically. Let's have a look at what happened here. Going around the corner there, looking okay, yeah, and then just completely loses it and hammers into the wall on his left-hand side of his car. Yeah, just loses it. As he's going around the corner, spins out, hammers into that side wall there. Yeah, spins. Yeah, you can just see he starts spinning around that corner and then goes into the wall there. The barrier's doing a pretty good job there, but into the wall turn 5, and that car's wrecked, by the way. That will not be usable in a few hours' time. Just loses it as he's going around. I think he just got slightly close to the wall. Saying, sorry, mate, I lost the car. Yep, sorry, I don't know what happened. Otherwise, I am okay. So a red flag at the moment. Aston Martin Vantage out of there is safety car. So that's the medical car, by the way, not the safety car. The medical car's on the way to go pick him up. I saw the Aston Martin, assumed it was the Vantage thing, but it's not. It's the medical car, which makes more sense. DBX 707 is a very pretty car. I'll tell you what, I will let you guys not. I will let you guys off for not buying me tickets to the Grand Prix. Everybody wants to buy me an Aston Martin. Anybody out there? No? Yeah. Welcome, person to the stream, saying I can only join now. Don't miss anything important. Well, you did miss the fact that Ferrari currently have an 18-year-old in the cockpit there, Oliver Behrman, as we currently watch him. I'm looking on my screen. He is driving in place of Carlos Sainz, who is out with appendicitis this weekend. Apart from that, Verstappen, Leclerc, Alonso, the 3 fastest so far. Just one person in Max Verstappen going below that 128 threshold. And so far, 9 people going under that 130 threshold. So we expect to see the qualifying standards below that 129 mark. And Joe said, didn't expect something will happen on practice 3. Yeah, well, it's usually the straightforward session, isn't it? You know, you kind of kind of know where the car's like or the track is, or you kind of just want to get around and get the last bit of information. You don't expect to see something like that. But yeah, Zhou Guanyu apologizing to his team, saying he just simply lost control. But we do have a red flag, and the time continues to tick down. Sergio Perez in 5th fastest so far, although currently on stream is Max Verstappen. So I need to get that one right. There it is. JP saying, "Oh dear, that car is totaled." Yeah, it doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. I don't think I don't think he's reversing that out and giving that a go. So we'll wait and see if we'll get some more action at the moment. If you're under a red flag, as Zhou Guanyu into the wall there. Yuki Tsunoda is currently slower than his teammates. You know, they did try to allay fears that there was any sort of tension in between the two. Although I think there probably definitely is after the scenes of like, oh my goodness, they've just dragged the car out. The back right is hanging by threads. The front and the back left looks pretty damaged. The nice, well, not the nice thing, but the good thing from a session point of view is that a lot of the damage has been contained to that thing. They're right next to a lead-off area as well. So they'll be able to get that car off the track quite quickly. Then it's just a matter of sweeping up the debris. I don't know if we'll be able to get this cleared in 12 minutes. And I think that Salvo team will be quickly on the other car, preparing that for action later. Marshall coming 600th of a second behind his teammate Alonso, who's currently sitting 3rd fastest of the session. And Gary saying in the comments, "I'm disappointed to see the McLaren down the order after their great leap forward last season. I'm not surprised to see Lewis way down there. Glad to see Russell is proving his worth." Yeah, as I said, I think that was pretty much my chat last week. Zach Brown saying that, you know, they're not going to be competitive until mid-season. I thought was a bit of a cop-out, because I thought that they'd done so well to make themselves competitive throughout the season. To then go and basically, you know, resign yourself to the fact that you're not going to be competitive until mid-season again, I thought was a bit frustrating and disappointing. You know, they had made so much progress that I was hoping that they could then kick on and be competitive from the start of the season. So that's a bit frustrating. Manesh saying it's the first time Charles is older than his teammate. That's an interesting point. That's a very interesting point. And you know, just watching Zhou Guanyu just completely lose his car there. Now, good to see he's okay, but yeah, just apologizing to a teammate saying he completely lost the car. Yeah, but as I said, managed to get outside. In fact, even picked up some of his rear wing. So looks like nothing serious to Zhou Guanyu. Looks like he's 100% okay. And a stat there, achieved the 5th Grand Slam with career in Bahrain, equaling Alberto Ascari and Michael Schumacher. Max Verstappen there. And Oscar Piastri scored his 100th point for McLaren at the Bahrain Grand Prix last weekend. Now, I'm busy looking at what's going on there. At Jeddah, we've got a speedboat out that's doing donuts. That's wild. I want to do donuts in a speedboat. What I'm saying is, they're only watching from Saudi Arabia, and you need an official Formula One podcaster representative. I'm in. If you need a Jeepers me, they just soaked the entire. That actually looks very refreshing. So it's some powerboat that goes, and then they quick turn and they soak the entire crew. I'm in. But as I was saying, if anyone's in Saudi Arabia, you know, if you need an official Formula One correspondent, I do golf as well. If you want to do a live golf, I'm happy to do football. You know, the big bucks are over there. I'm up for hire. Go and see Jeddah and see what everything's like. Right, Fernando Alonso, by the way, is a second behind, which shows you the dominance so far of Max Verstappen in that lap. given the fact that second place is almost 8 tenths of a second behind, and Alonso a further 2 seconds, 2 tenths of a second behind. So almost a gap, 1 second gap between Verstappen and third place. Shows you how dominant that lap from Max Verstappen was. Still under red flag, yeah, though. Right, so I think early shots for Paul, obviously Max Verstappen, but I think Leclerc and Alonso could be looking to try and get to the front of that grid. I'll ask you guys, how will Oliver Behrman do this weekend? 134 votes so far, so please keep voting on that poll. Let's even get that up to 200 votes. At the moment, 44% reckon that he'll score points. 37%, the next highest reckon, the top 15. 10%, well, there's 1 and 10% being very optimistic, say he'll podium. And there's also 10% being pretty pessimistic, saying that he'll be in the bottom 5. Well, time will tell. We'll find out tomorrow night. But first of all, I'm very keen to see how he goes in qualifying. And we haven't seen him on a soft tire just yet. Toto Wolff and Zach Brown, they're engrossed in the conversation over there. Right, and the good news is that the session will resume at 17:25. So we will have yet a few more laps in. So the cars are there all lined up and ready to go. The track will open once again in a minute's time. And a lot of cars will want to go out and get a few more laps in just before the session does finish. I don't think we'll see too many more faster times there. I think this was pretty much how the session will finish from regards of a timing board perspective. We'll have to wait and see. But all the cars over there parked in the traffic, ready to go out. Qualifying starts in about 2.5 hours. So this stream will direct you immediately to the F2 stream. There's the sprint, which happens in about just under an hour's time, and qualifying gets underway at 8 o'clock local time. Fish Fight says Hamilton losing touch. Well, it's been slower. Right, 5 minutes to go, and that'll mean all the cars should be able to go out. Yep, there they go. So just 5 minutes left of the session. After the red flag, because of the collision by Zhou Guanyu, that has all been cleared and the track is open, but just 5 minutes left. So only really enough time to clock probably about 2 laps, really, maybe 3. But at the moment, Max Verstappen the fastest around the circuit. Having a look at George Russell. Yeah. And Haasel was driving into him. Not particularly happy there was George Russell. Let's see if I can find that team radio. Let's see if I can find the George Russell team radio from that instant. Where is it? Where's George Russell? Yep, nothing on the transcription there. Right, Oliver Behrman, I'll just probably get one more lap in. Noah saying it'll be a single tire lap. But yeah, so I think we'll see basically one lap really from the teams before the end of the session because of that red flag. Right, so Kevin Magnussen carrying on a hot lap here. Let's see what he can clock. The Haas has seemed to have better pace so far. Magnussen sitting in that fourth position, and Hulkenberg so far ninth fastest of the session. Logan Sargent, by the way, didn't clock a time. Doesn't look like he will clock a time. So not being able to get out there is the Williams. And obviously, Zhou Guanyu also not going to be out there because he is the one that put his car into the wall and brought a red flag onto the session. But apart from that, all the other cars are out. Oh, Magnussen almost losing it there. Right, Kevin Magnussen will come through with a 3 second off the gap lap time on there. But less, basically a minute and a half, almost to the second until the end of the third practice session. Right, Oliver Behrman will get his final lap underway. Let's see what he can do. Nico Hulkenberg, by the way, goes faster. He goes to seventh there, seventh fastest. Fastest first sector being set by Charles Leclerc. George Russell goes faster than Charles Leclerc with his fastest second sector. He gets below that 129 mark. Right, let's see what Oliver Behrman can do in his final lap. He's on a pair of softs, on a set of softs. Coming up to the first sector there, let's see. Looks pretty good at the moment. 4/10 of a second off the pace there, Oliver Behrman. Charles Leclerc set a fastest first sector. And should get back into that second position with a 128.608. So just under 2/10 of a second slower than Verstappen. I reckon those two are going to be the ones to watch in the qualifying later. Yuki Tsunoda's put himself in seventh fastest. Right, 7/10 of a second over there. That would put him at about seventh. Hamilton moving up to sixth fastest. So he goes a lot faster, but doesn't quite get up to where George Russell was. Right, let's see where Oliver Behrman can put himself. I reckon he's going to put himself in between Hamilton and Magnussen. And here we go. We're about to find out. And do I lie? Do I lie? There we go. Seventh fastest in his first practice session of the season. And Max Verstappen, by the way, on his final hot lap, has set a fastest first sector. So we could yet see a fastest time of the session being set by the man who will be expected to take pole a bit later. Lando Norris goes fourth fastest. He gets below that 129 marker. So whilst they only managed to get one lap in, there are going to be some fast laps here. Zedok saying already a 1.28. Will we see a 1.27 quality? Then I think we might. I think we might. Verstappen at the moment. I mean, if he goes any faster, yeah, he'll be below that. He'll get 128. Could be a 128. Now it doesn't just doesn't manage to get that time down. So the fastest lap of the session will be 128.412. I expect that to be slightly faster later in qualifying. So I reckon we could be pushing that sub 128 boundary. If we look at the times of the session, if there's any information to qualifying, it looks like to get to that Q3, you're gonna have to get below that 1.30 margin, maybe even look to push the 1.29 margin. But Oliver Behrman in his first, he completely lost there around the track there. Was that Charles Leclerc, in fact? No, it was, I think it was Behrman. Right, so there we go. That is the end of the third practice session. So In summary, we've got Verstappen at fastest, Charles Leclerc second, Sergio Perez in third, then George Russell, the McLaren of Lando Norris. You then got the two Aston Martins of Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, followed by Piastri, Hamilton, and Behrman leading up the rear. So the top 5 teams, very much the top 5 times so far. And yeah, I think we'll hopefully see. I mean, I would be really cool to see Oliver Behrman get get into Q3 later. Well, what do we think? What do we think of that? Right, so almost 180, almost 200 votes on the poll there, asking us what do we think will happen with Oliver Behrman's first Grand Prix in Formula One, and 43% the poll that winning, or the percentage that winning, is that they reckon he will score some points. Hopefully he does. I'd really like to see that, but we'll have to wait and see in qualifying later. Reese will be taking you through it, so this is the last time you'll see me for the weekend. So I'll see you guys in I'll see you next week with some news videos, but on a watch along, I'll probably see you guys in potentially the Australian Grand Prix. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and maybe I'll pop in and out. We'll wait and see, but at this stage, not going to see me. But thank you very much for joining me over the first 3 sessions here on Forever Motorsports. Again, if you are new, please do subscribe to the channel. Let's try and keep building our community. Some wonderful people over here. You make doing this a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys can all stick around, and we can